Like Kim did her thing.
Hey, would you be okay with that? Like, still my things from there? I like cameras. For the kids.
Oops.
That would be a bomb. Stupid thing. Have a good show.
All right, see you guys
Thank
next
you guys.
week.
Okay.
See you tomorrow.
Sir, I'm gonna turn these fans on.
1 minute.
Too hot. Too hot. I'm turning the fans on. Yeah. I'm gonna have to put this part on there.
Jim Hurley. Right?
It's just a little longer. I mean, a little shorter. A little lower.
He's got breaking news, by the way.
Oh, great.
Breaking news.
Love breaking news. We love Breaking Bad too, but not all in the
Not all
same
at the
way.
same time. Ready?
No.
You have a little banner. Breaking news. Can't hear you. Why did you do that? And good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode number 136. We are broadcasting live from Pete's Time Out in Times Square, right here on Fort Myers Beach. And so it's odd for me because I don't have anything in my hands to hold on to. Does it look silly? I couldn't let Greg Scazzi outdo me with his microphone setup, so I bought some new gear. Anyway, we are broadcasting live for episode number 36, or 136, I think it is. And I want to thank all our sponsors before we get into our first great guest who has breaking news, everybody. Somehow that got out there that he has breaking news. And we're going to hear some breaking news here this morning. I'm not feeling this microphone, not in any way. I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling it anywhere. Anyway, thanks to all of our sponsors, Nervous Nellies, GPS Vacation Rentals, Wave of Vitality, State Insurance USA, Mango Readers, and plus it just doesn't stop rolling. Sun Palace Vacations, the Ola Restaurant, Tuckaway Cafe, and our newest sponsor, Blue Ribbon Events, and of course, our longest running sponsor and the prettiest man on the planet, John Lalo at Pete's Time Out. We want to thank everybody for being part of the show and for being part of the newsletter, and also for being part of the website. Thank you all for your support and your donations. We're going to talk about the donations later on from the people that listen to the show and read the newsletter and all that. So thank you all for that. And later on the show, make sure you stick around after our second guest. Our second guest is Todd Truax, who's running for District 3 against Ray Sandelli. We found a Democrat finally. It wasn't easy, but we found a Democrat in Lee County.
He's been on the show.
I know he's been on the show. Why do you got to ruin my buzz like that? We finally found a Democrat. They're few and far between around here. So we're going to talk to him about it.
Lucy's going crazy.
Yeah, we're going to talk later in the show about, I think the sound is tinged. Okay, hold on, everybody. Let's see. We've got to fix this. Yeah, let's see. We'll fix the audio.
If it's just your voice.
Wait. Testing 1, 2. Is that better sound, everybody? Okay, here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square, you're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
All right, I think we fixed the sound. You know, the new microphone threw me off. I forgot to check the sound beforehand, but I think we're good to go now. So they missed all the funny opening, but we'll just replay the funny opening. Right now, our first guest is going to join us, Jim Nicholl. Thank you, everybody out there, for listening in and for correcting us. And you didn't miss anything, but Jim's got some breaking news that he's going to tell us about shortly. And I want to make sure that we introduce Jim is a member of the Public Safety Committee. He's also running for fire board here on Fort Myers Beach. So, Jim, first of all, tell us how long you've lived on the beach.
Well, we started coming down here like many people do as snowbirds back in 2011. We spent a lot of time on the beach at that time because we just came down here after I retired from the Kettering, Ohio Police Department. Decided we wanted to get away from the winters, and we fell in love with Fort Myers Beach. So we found ourselves spending more and more time down here. So after a while, we figured out that we could buy a place and live here cheaper than we could rent. So we started searching. We found a place down on the south end of the island, Estero Cove Condominiums, and we bought in there in 2015. And we've been residents ever since and have just loved living here.
And your lovely wife is here, and she works at the Islander.
She does. She works at the Islander there at Santini Plaza.
And that's one of Anita's stores?
Yes, it's one of Anita's 3 stores.
What do they sell there?
They sell everything there. They sell a lot of ladies' clothes. They sell a lot of jewelry. And they have a lot of odds and end things, little purses and things like that.
Right.
She's had an opportunity to be in a couple of fashion shows.
Wow.
Anita likes to do little fashion shows.
Right at the store there.
Right there at the store. And
maybe Anita would have you do a fashion show.
No, I don't think so. But
I think that'd be great.
Well, she could invite you, Kim.
Well, she could. But I think that would really look good on Ed.
Anita's our best favorite. No offense, Jim, but Anita's our favorite guest of all time.
Oh, well.
It's a hard act to follow.
She's quite the character, and she was a great mayor when she was on council, and I think people on beach should appreciate her and love her. Really, she's done a lot for Fort Myers Beach.
So let's talk about the fire board first, and or do you want to do the breaking news first? Or we're going to save the breaking news.
Kind of
all right, let's talk about the fire board. You're running for fire board.
I am. There was an opening that came up on the fire board probably around February. One of the fire commissioners had to retire because of health concerns. And unfortunately, it was Bob Raymond, and he unfortunately has passed away this past year. But in any event, they decided they would appoint someone to fill that position until the November election. And then you had to, whoever was going to then be on the commission would have to be voted in at the November election. So I applied along with several other people for the appointment, and we submitted resumes, went in for interviews. They were quite public. I'd never been through an interview quite like that. You're in town hall, you're on TV, and the commission's up there, and you got an audience, and they ask you questions, and it was kind of interesting.
Who were you interviewed by?
The other 4 commissioners.
Okay. Wow. Sounds official.
It was. It was a little intimidating. That's all I'm saying. So in any event, we get in there, and they after that process, they voted, and they selected me to serve on the board. So I've been on the fire commission since July 8th, and but I also have to run for election to remain on the commission after the November election. So that's what I'm doing. Probably see my signs up and down the island there. Jim Nicholl for fire commissioner.
Yes, I saw them next door at a local color. Why are you kicking me already?
I wanted to ask one question.
Well, go ahead and ask.
All right.
Go right ahead.
Speak up.
I mean, good Lord, I can't get a word in edgewise with this one. So what was your interest or impetus to want to run or serve?
I've always been involved in public safety. I was and serving on public boards. So up in Ohio, I was a police officer for 40 years.
Wow.
And I retired. Kettering, Ohio is a suburb of Dayton, in case anybody doesn't know where that's at. But it's a kind of a mid-sized. I like our friend over here. But
I know.
Kind of
it's a big
Lucy.
barker. Big barker.
No, she's like a.
Well, it's Lucy. Her name is Lucy.
Her name is Lucy. I think she's
Very
like
nice.
a bloodhound
Lucy.
or something.
She's big. In any event, so I was on the Kettering, Ohio Police Department for 40 years. Retired in 2011 with the rank of lieutenant.
Nice.
During that time, I had the opportunity to be involved with many things. I actually worked in every section of the department, and then I commanded virtually every section of the department, and got to meet some very interesting people. Got to meet Vice President Cheney.
Wow.
Got to meet Vice President Biden when he was running. Got to meet, gosh, I can't even remember them all. President Bush, President Clinton. So it was, being involved in all that was quite interesting. And I just always enjoyed, it was kind of like gets in your blood service.
The birds are inside.
Then subsequent to that, we moved from our house. We had a 4-bedroom house where we raised our 5 kids. We have 14 grandkids now.
Wow.
So we moved from that house to a condo up in Dayton, and I got on the condo board, and the next thing you know, I was president of that board. So then we started coming down here, and eventually we purchased a place at Estero Cove there at Fort Myers Beach, across from the Wyndham Garden Inn.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't very long. I ran for the board there at Estero Cove. It was about 2018, and got elected, and then they appointed me president there. So at one point, I was president of both condos.
Is that that's like an HOA, right?
Yeah. So, and I'm still currently on the board there at Estero Cove and serving as the president there.
So let me ask you this: when you said you were 40 years?
40 years on the Kettering Police Department.
What do you think when you see all this defund the police?
Well, I think people they're not really grasping what needs to really happen. I think what needs to happen is law enforcement and really criminal justice reform as a whole. The whole system probably needs a little work. It's been tried a few times. It's not been terribly successful. I think community policing is a valid concept that can work very effectively in some communities, and we had it in Kettering, and I thought it was extremely effective there. It's really a philosophy of policing more than it is a program or a project, and at least that's the way we handled it in Ohio, and it seemed to work very well in our community.
So when you say community policing, you mean the police officers spending more time in the community. You don't mean the community actually, the residents policing themselves. Can you explain what you mean by community?
Right. Well,
because they are talking about it down here.
Yes, I know they are, and I'm not sure exactly what that concept is. In fact, I might get the opportunity to learn a little more about it as a member of that public safety committee. I think we're gonna have the opportunity to talk with the sheriff's department a little bit about it and learn a little more about the community policing program as offered by the sheriff office. But generally speaking, what community policing is, there was a period of time when police officers were kind of like an occupation force in a town. And they basically, the community didn't know them and they didn't know the community. They just came in, they worked their shift, they handled calls, and they enforced the law. And what the whole concept of community policing is for an officer to become part of the community,
right,
where he knows the people on his beat, and he's familiar with them and they're familiar with him. So and a lot of times in a program like that, they might hand out their own cell number to people, and they might be patrolling an area and the phone rings and it's Mrs. Wilson over on such and such a street, and she's got a problem. And so the officer might go over and help her out with whatever her problem is. Now that kind of community interaction and community closeness is what makes community policing work.
Got it. Now, I think one of the other things that came up that's similar but not is the neighborhood watch. Now,
right.
What are your feelings about that? Where's the board looking to go with that?
Well, I think neighborhood watch, at least in my experience, has been a very effective way for neighborhoods to get together. We live in a somewhat, a society that kind of people don't know each other like they did back in the old days. You might live on a street and never know your neighbor. Well, the whole concept of neighborhood watch is for neighbors to get together, get to know each other, and kind of look out for each other, so that if they see something that looks wrong or something that they think the police ought to investigate, they speak up. It's also a way of good communication. So if you're having problems in a neighborhood, or even an adjoining neighborhood, people have the opportunity then to communicate about it, and ultimately they can get ahead of the game, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. So the other things that you want to get accomplished on the Public Safety Committee are what? Because the Nuisance Abatement Board, what are your thoughts on that? It didn't even go through the Public Safety Committee. It kind of went right to the council, and they approved it.
Right. Now, obviously, that's a decision of council, and I respect that, and I appreciate I think the Nuisance Abatement Board is a tool. As long as the tool is not overused or abused, it's probably an effective tool to have in your tool belt. I think if you only have one tool in your tool belt, everything looks like, if you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So I think it's beneficial to have a number of options available. And if you're not able to accomplish what you need to accomplish, maybe with a community problem, another way you can always fall back on this, because this is probably the hammer, but if you have other tools in your tool belt, you use those first. And then if you're not getting where you need to be, then I think you fall back on that. So I would hope that board wouldn't be used very much. You wouldn't see much action out of it. But it's there. It's available. I mean, council's decided we want to have that tool.
Do you think we should have it?
Do I think we should have it? Gee, you're not the first person that's asked me that. And I said, it never hurts to have tools.
Okay. So another issue that's a major issue on the island is the lighting. And it's been in front of your committee. It's been in front of the council. They've done 2 or 3 studies. They're doing another study. Why can't you get the lighting right?
Gosh, Ed, I wish you'd ask me something that is controversial.
It seems like it's the people against the turtles, to be honest with you.
I will tell you, it is a complicated issue, and you can't just look at it myopically. You have to take into consideration the totality of it and the unique environment that we live in. So I think council has been really desperately trying to thread that needle. And we did look at some options early on, and I don't think they look too bad to us, but the council decided, we need some more information. So they have put it out for bids again, and we're currently waiting for the bids to come in, to have another consultant come in, give us some more information and more options. I think that's really what they're looking for, is more options, because we need, it almost feels like anyhow, you have competing interests here, but I don't think we really do. I think there is a middle ground that can be had, and I think that's what council is trying to do, and I applaud them for their patience and their effort to do it.
Is it really?
Now,
Go ahead.
So the first bid went out though, and nothing came back. Is that correct? And so now for a consultant.
Right, it did.
And so now it's gone.
It's gone out a second time.
Is it the same RFQ or whatever that is?
RFP.
To the best of my knowledge, it's pretty close to the same. They could have tweaked it a little bit, but I can't speak to that. You'd have to ask.
And that's to get a
the town.
Consultant, not to get another study yet, right?
Right.
It's
Well,
to-
the consultant is probably going to come in and look at everything that's been done, because, you don't want to reinvent the wheel, and then probably add, a little value added, do some of their own work as well. And then I'm sure they'll make recommendations to the council as to what they think we should do. And what involvement Public Safety Committee will have on that, we really don't know at this point.
Right.
But that's one of the things. This last meeting that we had, the one that you kept an eye on, Ed, was our organizational meeting. We added a couple of new members.
Yeah.
We selected a chair and a vice chair, and we really kind of looked at all the issues that we think we're going to be faced with over the next year, and the lighting is one of them. But we don't really know for sure how big of a role, if any, we're going to play in that from this point forward. So I guess we'll wait to see what council wants us to do. That's our job. We're really there to help council.
Well,
and to give them some information.
Well, and I just want to say this before I forget it, is that if folks want to get caught up on what the committee does, that's a good meeting to go back and watch.
Yeah.
Because John Goggin does a great job of
Reviewing.
getting the new members up to date. And
Right.
for folks who have forgotten, because it's been a long process, the lighting thing, he explained that, and a lot of the other issues that you guys are kind of working on. So it really could get somebody up to speed.
Yeah, I think our community is very fortunate to have someone like John to chair that committee. That committee can I think provide a lot of valuable insight to council as they're going to go about making decisions. And I think John is just an excellent leader in that respect, and can can convey our ideas back to council in a really effective way.
Just one final point on that. The last consultant that they had come in and make a presentation to the council, I thought was excellent. I don't remember her name, but she came in and made a presentation, and I thought it was great. And I guess I don't really understand why they're going for another consultant. It seems like it's coming down to money, to figure out how much money the town wants to spend, because you have to do what you have to do for the turtles, and so it's coming. It seems like, and you don't want it to look like Burnt Store Road in Cape Coral, where they're trying to put shields up to block the lighting.
Yeah.
I mean, so that you don't damage the wildlife and the human beings. So it just seems like it's getting more complicated than it should be.
Well, I think what you said is exactly right. It's a complicated issue, and I think council wants to try to make the right decision. And when you're facing a complicated issue like this, rushing into a quick decision, while it might feel good, it just doesn't necessarily is in the best interest of the community in the long run. So I applaud them for their patience. I applaud them for pursuing this and trying to get all the information they can before they come to a final decision.
So the other issue that's huge right now is the Foot of the Bridge project, which, the way I understand it, and you correct me if I'm wrong, the county is involved, DOT is involved, and the town is involved. And there were three options. The county presented the third option, which you guys, if you want to look at it, it's on our website on beachtalkradionews.com. You can see the option. And it almost appeared as if you guys from the Public Safety Committee didn't get any input on what seems to be what's decided, and that is you're concerned about crosswalks, because that turned out to be one of the number one tied with, I don't forget the other one was homeless, but the number one safety concern was people just darting out across the roads, and there seemed like there was too many crosswalks in that proposal.
Well,
so,
and the committee had submitted or came up with a plan of
some recommendations
for no crosswalks, right? And that didn't seem to. There's some question on whether that got brought forward or was considered, or.
Gee, I wish you could give me something.
Don't sugarcoat it now.
I wish you could just give me something that was simple.
I'm just going.
That's a huge project,
but the whole deal is all of these projects are very complicated,
Yes.
and there are many, many competing issues that have to be considered. And I think council, again, is trying to thread that needle to be responsive to. There are three people here in making these decisions: the town council, the county commission, and the state Florida Department of Transportation.
Right.
Everybody has to be happy.
Right.
And that's not always easy to do. So I think what they're trying to do is come up with a plan that's going to meet the needs of all three entities. And it may not necessarily coincide with what we originally had recommended, but I think in the long run, whatever they do there is going to be an incredible improvement to what we have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of anxious to see what they finally come up with, and for things to happen, because I think it'll improve the flow of traffic. And that was really what our committee was looking at, was trying to improve the flow of traffic. We were worried that crosswalks there
would impede that,
traffic, but it remains to be seen how they're managed, I think. So we'll just have to see how it all comes out. But I'm pretty excited about them looking at that right now, and I'm looking forward to the final, council making its final decision in conjunction with the county and the state to come up with a finalized plan. Then we all know what's happening. Whether you liked it or hated it, you at least know what's going to happen.
Not everybody's going to like it.
It's good.
And so everybody knows there will be a public hearing on that in February or March, according to the Lee County Department of Transportation representative. He said there will be a public hearing on it next year, early next year, and then construction probably not till 2022.
Right. That's the way I was hearing it as well. So,
and to me, it makes perfect sense to not have as many crosswalks, because it's just, you want the traffic flowing, because your expectation with all this, the new hotel and new Times Square, you want people you want to be like Disney, moving people around. You want to just get them on, get them off.
Not only that, but it seems, and I don't know, because I'm not an engineer, that the more crosswalks you have, the more opportunity you have for people to be in them and someone not to see them. And it just,
Right. Well, again, I think you have the three entities involved. They all have their own view on how that should be. And then you throw a silly thing in there like the Florida statutes and things like that. So
Right. Right.
and you have to just it's complicated.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just going to ask about the bus, or is it the bus or the trolley shelter that's going in, and the code blue?
Right. This is an area we think we would be a really value added to the community. Is working with Tran to install some bus shelters, basically, so that when you're waiting for the bus, you can get out of the rain or out of the sun. It's
right.
sunny here most of the time.
Right.
And also a place where you could summon help. So if you put a code blue is like a little device that would allow you to essentially connect directly with the police and fire dispatcher, so that if you had a medical emergency or a police emergency, you have a safe place to go and you can summon help, whether you have your cell phone with you or not. Not everybody carries a cell phone these days, but if they didn't for one reason or another, there's a place there they could get a hold of help. And so we have a test one going in, I think, over by the school,
right,
and past the library and back behind, and we're going to get that in place. We're going to see how that works, and we're going to see, maybe we'll tweak our ideas from there. Again, this is an idea that we have been working on the Public Safety Committee, but we have partners, so you have to work with your partners. You have to work with the city, and you have to work with Tran. So
Jim, does Fort Myers Beach have a homeless problem?
Gosh.
Another easy softball question.
We'll get around to that. Oh, you're going to kick me off? Just going to talk a little. Okay.
No.
All right. Do we have a homeless problem? It's a complicated issue.
Okay.
None of these issues are black and white and easy to solve. I think it's an issue that is going to require some study. It's going to require some social service involvement. And of course, it's going to require, I think, some sophisticated ordinances and enforcement process. So I'm not going to say we have a problem, Ed. I think we're going to have to work on making sure everyone on this island feels safe and that everyone on this island is taken care of.
Right.
Is it safe or unsafe? Do people feel safe or unsafe?
I think most people here feel safe.
Yes, I agree with that.
I certainly do.
I mean,
I feel like I could walk up and down the street here at night and I would not feel
Right.
I would not feel the least bit intimidated.
Do you think Fort Myers Beach needs a police department?
I think we're doing pretty well with the sheriff. It's certainly a cheaper option to do it this way, and it's common in Florida to do things this way. Much like special districts are kind of unique. They're not necessarily unique to Florida, but they're certainly not common up north. They hear the use of the sheriff, even in municipalities like Fort Myers Beach, is a pretty common thing. And I think sheriffs have to just be responsive to their clients. And I think the sheriff here has been.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to switch back to his election and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So can you explain to people what the fire board does?
Okay. We have a fire district here. It was I think originally put in place around 1949 or 1950.
Wow.
So it way preceded the town. And that, again, is common in Florida. You determine that you have a governmental need, a need that you need some kind of government to take care of, in this case, fire protection. And so the people here formed the fire control district of Fort Myers Beach. And it's a totally separate, independent form of government, has nothing to do with the town whatsoever. Commissioners that are elected to the board are like councilmen. They have the authority to make ordinances, essentially to make laws and to set tax rates and so forth, as well as supervise the manager of the district, which in our case, as a fire district, is our fire chief, Matt Love. You've had Matt on the show a few times. I will have to speak very highly about Matt here in a second. But in any event, that's what districts are different. Up north, most police and fire departments are either affiliated with a municipality or a county, where in Florida, many services are provided by districts, mosquito control, hospitals, road and utilities, water and inlet control districts. We have Well, the Florida Association of Special Districts has over 1,700 members, and I'm sure not every district is a member. So you can tell they're just all over Florida, and they provide a really valuable governmental service to the people that they serve.
How many members and how big is the budget? How many members on the board and how big is your budget?
There are 5 commissioners, and that's all set in Florida statute. And I'm not sure I can rattle that number off right now. The budget for the whole fire department, I can't do it. I'm not going to speculate because
you don't want to.
I just don't have that number.
Sure. So is your wife your campaign manager? Because was she getting on us because we were talking too much public safety and
that's her job.
Election? Okay,
she
gotcha.
is the campaign manager and the treasurer.
Just want to make sure.
So
you got to keep the campaign small in a small town. I got you.
So why should people vote for you?
Well, thank you for asking.
It's a good question, right?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Oh yeah,
we keep score of the good questions. We're going to save the breaking news for the last piece.
Yes. The reason I decided to try to get on the commission was really out of a sense of public service. I've served on the condominium board in Ohio and the condominium board here. Then I volunteered to get on the public safety committee. And when the opportunity came up to serve on the fire commission, I felt it was just another great opportunity to contribute back to the community. I had a lot of experience with my 40 years in law enforcement. Being a law enforcement executive, I worked closely with our municipal fire department. We put together a joint 911 center that I was involved in. And so I had to work very closely with them to put that together and learn about fire. What I discovered was while the technical skills that the line people do, like policemen and firemen do, are very different, the administrative management of a fire department is very similar to the administrative management of a police department. We have ranks and kind of military ranks and all of that stuff, and it's all part of government. So it seemed like a natural fit that I thought I could come in and not just occupy the seat, but actually make some contributions right away. Yeah. And I felt like I have been able to do that. And I've gotten feedback from other commissioners who have been surprised that I was able to get up to speed as quick as I was able to. I owe that a lot to Chief Love. He spends a lot of time with a new commissioner to get them caught up with all of the issues, explain to them how the fire department works and all of those things. And it helped me a lot with my background and experience and the hours I spent with him learning about the fire district and the fire department to be able to make some contributions right away. We have some pretty big things on our plate coming up.
Whatever he gets paid, it's not enough. So I hope that the first thing you do when you arrive, if you win, is to give Chief Love a raise because whatever it is, it's not enough.
Well, I will tell you. I'm going to talk a little bit about Chief Love. I'm going to go out
on
breaking news.
Here.
This is it.
I have a breaking news sounder, but if you would have told me yesterday, I could have put it.
You could have put it out there on the screen.
In the system.
Yeah.
So all right. So breaking news. Breaking
news is. First off, I want to say, Chief Love, when I came here, I didn't have a clue what to expect. I'd heard about the fire department. Some people liked it. Some people didn't. That's probably some of that's going back 10, 15 years, you know. So, but I have been so pleasantly surprised at how absolutely professional our fire department is. It is just incredible. And how lucky we are as a community to have a fire department that is as skilled and professional as this agency. And, this is not an easy place to provide fire protection. We have marine areas, boats and marinas. We have all kinds of different structures, anything from little cottages to, houses made of cinder block. We have high rises here.
And you have no space to get the fire trucks through.
Yeah. So, and each one of those are very special and unique things that a fire department has to train for, has to have the equipment for, and has to have the knowledge in order to effectively do that, fight a fire in those circumstances. So I have to say that our fire department is just incredible, and I am so impressed with them. But I'm really impressed with Matt. Matt has been the best CEO that I have ever had the pleasure of working with in my entire life. And I've been involved in local government, my whole life. Bar none, he is just most incredible. And that apparently is not just my view, because Matt just yesterday
Here it comes.
was named Special District Manager of the Year.
Wow.
For the state of Florida.
No
Wow.
kidding.
This is
Well
an award.
deserved.
This is an award that is issued by the Florida Association of Special Districts, and it reflects ethics and professionalism and transparency in government. That's the main criteria. So they're judging not only Matt's conduct, but how the district operates and functions and provides its services. So it is a great honor for him to be selected, and I couldn't be happier for him.
Wow, that's
and
great.
I congratulate him on this incredible recognition.
Another reason to give him a raise. Another reason he
Right.
deserves more money. They all do.
They all do.
So,
Wow.
so where can people find your campaign, help you out, get some signs, all that stuff?
We're on Facebook at Jim Nicholl for FMB Fire Commissioner, and you can message us there. We also have an email, which is it's on the Facebook there. So you can send us an email.
Did you
If
say
you need a
the
sign,
Facebook?
we can do what?
Did you say the Facebook?
The
That's-
Facebook.
That's how
gotcha.
he says it
On
too.
the Facebook. So yeah, you can find us there, and information that you need is there. We try to keep people kind of updated as to what we're doing, and this has been kind of an unusual year to try to run a
Sure.
campaign.
Yeah.
With COVID, you try not to. You don't want to put other people at risk, and you don't want to put other people uncomfortable. So we're not shaking a lot of hands and kissing a lot of babies, but we did put out a couple of mailers so that people could become familiar with us. I think Ellen has a couple here.
All right, great. We'll pass them out.
We'll leave with you, and we can pass them
Yeah,
out.
that'd be great.
These came to people in the mail so that they would be familiar. And on your ballot here at Fort Myers Beach, they have all of the offices, all of the office holders, and then we're down at the very bottom right-hand
I know
side.
it's going to be.
And,
There's so much other stuff going
So
on.
I would ask you to go down to that very bottom right-hand side and
Not
vote for
forget.
Jim Nicholl
Right.
for fire commissioner.
Now, Jim, do you think you'll ever run for town council? Because I see that in your future.
Well, it's nice of you to ask, but that's a whole different can of worms. The fire district is kind of specific to public safety, which is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And the town council is what I call generalized government, which is a little broader, and it can be intense at times.
Yep.
Sometimes,
But you're not saying no.
sometimes the mayor might, get interviewed by someone and get hammered a little. I don't know, Ed. You know anything about that? I mean, it can
Trying
be
to
a
turn
little.
a new leaf here.
It can be a little intense. It
Yeah.
can be a little intense, and
I
so
hear you.
so I we'll have to see.
I
I'm
didn't
not
say no,
saying
dear. You
I'm
didn't
not
say
saying
no.
no,
Say
but
no.
I'm not
Saying
saying
yes.
yes. So there you go.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, and good luck with your campaign. Anything we can do to help, let us know. And
Thank
we're
you
happy
so
to
very
help
Yeah,
much.
out.
thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to come up and join
Thanks
you
so
guys.
much.
I have to tell you what people at home don't appreciate. As you're sitting here, it smells so good. You
I
just
know.
cannot
You
get
need
over
to come on
how
down for
good it
some
smells,
breakfast.
Right? We
Yeah.
got a nice crowd outside, and the good thing about what's going on now too, Jim, is we see the beach is picking up. The
I think
season
so, too.
is starting to kick in, so that's
Yeah, I
nice
would
to
agree.
see.
I would
People
agree.
need everybody to come down and do their social distancing, but spend their money.
I concur.
Good luck, Jim.
Thank
Have a
you
great
so
weekend.
much.
Thanks
So
to your
much.
wife too for coming down. And
Thank you.
before we get to our second guest, Todd Truax. Todd he came in with a Biden sign, everybody. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be interesting to talk to him about that. He came in with a big, gigantic Biden sign. Before we get to Todd, who's running for the Lee County Board, I want to tell you about islandoils.com. Of course, we've been talking about Island Oils for the longest time, and now that the weather is changing and it's getting cooler outside, you're going to be sitting outside enjoying the nice weather and watching some TV and watching your favorite football team, or watching the college playoffs, or just watching Narcos on Netflix. You're going to be sitting out, and the bugs are going to attack if you don't have the proper bug repellent, and that's islandoils.com. They also have don'titchit.com, and Todd is going to join us in a second. It is made in Florida. It smells great. You're in enemy territory right here with that banner. I don't think I've ever seen one of those banners before. I'm sure you got it real cheap, and probably you probably got it at the Goodwill. It's 100% oil, but it absorbs well and is also a nice moisturizer for your skin. Made with high-performing essential oils, registered as a minimal risk insect repellent in Florida and many other states. Safe for kids, of course, and it's DEET-free, and that's DEET free. No harmful chemicals. Go to Island Oils right now, people. IslandOilsLLC.com is the website, and order some bug repellent to keep the bugs off you and to keep us in business here. So thank you very much for those guys for supporting the show. And we'll tell you about the Fort Myers Tiki Tours later on after our second guest, Todd Truax. Todd, have a seat. Todd is fully Bidened up. Todd is running for District 3 for the there. We've got some more windscreens. I am not. What is that? Oh, Cindy Banyai. Oh, yeah, we had Cindy on our Friday show. Cindy's out there for sure. So, Todd, you are all Democrated up, man. You're in enemy territory right here. Not with me, because you might want to talk into.
It's a free country, and we
This is
all
true.
have our own territory, and this is the United States
That's
of
right.
America.
So
So
before
there is
we-
no enemy within the United States of America, sir.
What are you doing? Okay, before we get
Smart lady over there.
Before we get to your campaign, I looked on your website. You're full of the Biden Harris thing, and you're totally in the Democratic camp, which is fine. But it's like impossible to find a Democrat in this county. So
Thank you for allowing it to be fine.
yeah, I mean, it's just why. The first question I have is why is this such a Republican stronghold? It's like it's way Republican.
You're asking me to support your preface that this is a Republican stronghold, and I don't.
Well, you're not being realistic then, because you know it is. I mean,
Well, no, what it is what it's going to be.
okay, what is it going to be?
I don't subscribe to it is what it is. I subscribe to what it's going to be.
So what is it going to be then? If you're telling me
It's going to be the biggest blue wave you've ever seen come across Fort Myers Beach and the South Shore of Southwest Florida.
all right,
That's what it's going to be.
we'll see.
In 10 short days.
We'll see about that. But
We certainly will.
my question is, it's hard for a Democrat to get
No, it
elected.
ain't, buddy.
It has been
ain't.
up till today.
Ah, see, yes. The
Why-
future. Let's talk about the future.
Why has it been up until today?
We'll talk about the future.
All right.
I love the future.
All right, so
You're
let's-
stuck in the past, man.
No, I'm not. Let's talk about the future.
Good. Welcome to it.
Let's talk about the future. So
Now is the future.
what is it that Joe Biden will bring to the country? Without saying Donald Trump, what is it?
I
Why
don't
should
need to say his name, but you seem to want to say it as often as possible.
why should people vote for Joe Biden? How's it going to help them?
Where do I begin? Let's start with the top thing. He's going to give you the truth. He's going to be straight with you. He's not known as Joe the con man. He's known as Joe, Honest Joe. He will not give you malarkey. He will identify it when he hears it. That's number one.
Okay.
Let's start with the truth.
All right.
Let's start with honesty and kindness and decency, civility, patriotism, a history of service. Is that enough? I think it's more than enough.
What about the folks getting their taxes raised? Because that's going to happen if Biden and Kamala are elected.
Well, when you build up a huge deficit like the current administration, somebody's got to pay the bill.
So
Especially when you give trillionaires all the breaks they can get in the tax break. Did you get a couple $1 trillion in that last big tax cut? Mr. Rooney voted for it?
I
No.
don't worry about what government does for me.
Government works for you or against you if you don't pay attention.
No, I don't look at it that way. I look at it. I work for myself.
Well,
but
I'll get you paper.
So you don't think that middle class is going to have their taxes raised?
If you make $400,000 and you think you're middle class, gee whiz, get a book.
So that's the only thing is the 400,000. Not
I don't make $400,000. Do you make $400,000
From
this
the
is not
show,
a
just from-
lavish place,
just
sir.
from this show.
You got
I
kicked
do.
off the street. Hell.
Just from this.
Come on. This
Touche.
is not a
Good shot there.
$400,000 place.
Good
you got
shot.
here.
So he's not going to raise taxes on the middle class. You're convinced of that.
You're asking me to defend Joe.
Yeah.
I should ask you to defend the current administration.
I'm not
Let's turn the tables.
I'm not a fan of Donald Trump.
How do you allow a bounty to be had on U.S. soldiers? How do you allow soldiers and veterans being called suckers and losers. Please defend that for me.
I'm not here to defend
Please
Trump.
defend that.
but
You seem to utter his name everywhere, every
I
chance you
don't.
get.
I don't. I'm just interested to see why. I want to know why people
This is a
think.
give and take interview, not
Right.
one way, right?
No, I'm interviewing you, but I see where it's going.
All right.
Why I have arguments with Trump fans all the time because I think he's I think he's unpresidential, but I also think
that's the kindest way you could say.
I think he could be more. I think he could be more
ways
presidential.
that 200,000 people are dead.
But okay, let's talk about the coronavirus.
Yeah,
What would have been done differently if a Democrat was a president?
we had to listen to science.
We have been listening to science.
Oh, really? And
Yeah.
we ignored it. It's in one ear and out the other.
You can't hide in your house 24/7, which is what Fauci and his friends were telling
how about
everybody.
hiding in your bunker, sir. Let's talk about the bunker.
Yeah, where Joe Biden has been
Underneath the
hiding in his
Washington-
basement.
Underneath the U.S. White House, there's a bunker.
Yeah,
And your supreme leader
He's not-
has spent time
he's
there.
nobody's supreme leader.
Oh, he wants to be everybody's supreme
but
leader.
I agree that it's more about. It's
And he's
more,
been in that bunker. You know it.
well, he is the president. You got to keep the president safe.
So it's okay for him to be in the bunker, but not Joe to be in his family room
Joe's
in
just
the
an
basement.
average citizen right now, so he can do it.
Joe is a patriot that we all should applaud.
Okay, so let me ask you this: he's been in government. He's never really had a job. He's been in government for 47.
Is this a job? Are you
Not
making
really.
money
This is
doing
a-
this?
Well, that's why I got kicked off the square.
Yeah. So let's not denigrate anybody's job because
Okay.
we all do what we can to make it.
Todd, he's been in government for 47 years.
I
Why-
really, wait. Let me
all
just
of a
stop
sudden-
before we lose up all my
No,
airtime.
there's no airtime to lose.
My
You're
time,
good. You're good.
my time is valuable, and I would like to talk about my campaign
Okay.
and not Joe's campaign.
All right. So last question: 47 years, and we'll move on to your campaign. Why hasn't he accomplished anything in 47 years? What's going to be different next year? He's been there
All right,
47.
let's begin with your premise. It's
All right.
false.
He hasn't been there 47.
Let me continue, may I?
Yes.
Your premise is false. Do you know about this thing that some people call Obamacare, but others call the Affordable Care Act?
Mm-hmm.
Are you disappointed in that?
I don't know if I am or not.
I'll tell you how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed. It covers my 2 children.
Okay.
They're both under 26. They're covered under my wife's health plan. If they didn't have that, they'd be out to blow with the breeze. My son is klutzy. My son goes barefoot fishing along the shores of the water here and slices his feet open on the oyster shells.
Mm-hmm.
That's not covered if you don't have insurance. You pay a hefty fee to go to the emergency room and get your feet stitched up. My son was covered for that. I'm glad for the Affordable Care Act, and Joe called it a big effing deal.
Okay.
All right, and he helped make it happen, and we should all thank Joe Biden for that. Now, can we talk about Todd Truax's
how much
campaign?
how much did you get the masks for? That's pretty cool right there. Where'd you get? How many did you get?
2.
That's it.
I'm low budget, man.
I know.
You know, we're out here on the beach.
Because Democrats can't raise any money in this county.
Well, it's not about raising money. It's about having the right policies.
Mm-hmm.
You should never judge a person by how much money is in their wallet, but by the character of that they have and the policies that they believe behind.
So then why?
Please do not judge anybody by the thickness of their wallet or
I'm
the
just saying, if you
size
had more
of their
masks,
estate.
I'm just saying if you had
or
more
whether
masks,
their toilet is gold plated.
Now that everybody is mandated to have a mask, if you had more, it might have helped the campaign.
Where is your mask, sir?
It's right here.
Why is it not on?
Because I'm sitting. You don't have to sit in a restaurant.
You're not eating, sir.
All right, put it on. I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable.
No, I'm not. It's not about my discomfort.
It is.
It's about your protection.
I'm not. I don't.
It's
I
about
feel.
your protection of you and your protection of me.
I'm not afraid of the coronavirus.
I didn't ask whether you were afraid. I asked you to do your civic duty.
What is my civic duty? To be
considerate of one another.
Well, you have a mask on, so I'm not worried that you're going to spit on me. But
again, let's talk about masks.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great.
Let me educate
topic.
about. I'm a healthcare executive, right? I'm not wearing my cufflinks and suit right now, but yesterday I was.
You're okay.
All right. Healthcare, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Those masks, those N95 masks. You know what the N95 stands for?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
Let me cover it.
Go ahead.
N95 covers up to 3 microns. All right, that's a size. So if something is floating around in the air and it's 3 microns, N95 masks stop 5%. Oh, let 5% of that come through of the 3 microns.
Okay.
All right. The size of the COVID.
Yeah.
Do you know what the size is?
No.
1 micron.
Oh. Yeah.
All right. So N95 masks are great for healthcare and surgical settings. but they don't stop everything. There's no 100% guarantee of protecting, but every little bit of protection is better than none whatsoever.
Right.
That's why masks are important.
So do you think there should be a national mask mandate?
This is what I think. And this is what I want to do with Lee County.
Okay.
We're back to Lee County. You keep going national.
All right. How about a county mandate?
We're at the beach.
All right.
Again,
there is a mask mandate on the beach.
The county cannot mandate.
The county can't mandate.
The county can pass an ordinance.
Well, that's what I mean.
Well,
there's an ordinance that passed here.
Language should matter, sir. So let me go back to, this is an establishment. This is a public business, right?
Right.
They have signs like no shirt, no shoes, no service.
Right.
All you have to do is add no mask.
Well, if you leave it up to them, I agree with you. But you didn't leave it up to them. The council approved
I didn't leave
it.
it. How did I not?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I
In
had
general,
no power. I'm just the average citizen.
I'm
like
trying to make it. I'm trying to clarify what you're saying. That's a business's choice. What happened?
No,
here,
the health department has those rules.
Oh.
They lose their license if they don't comply with the health department rules.
Gotcha. Okay, so you didn't answer the question. So should there be a county ordinance for masks?
Yes.
Why?
I just told you why.
Okay. So the county numbers have not been too crazy, other than the last couple of weeks for whatever reason. For whatever reason, the county numbers.
Wait, what do you mean too crazy?
For the longest time, the county numbers were going down.
How many dead is good for you?
For the longest time, the county numbers were going down without a mask mandate.
Do you know how many dead people are in this county from COVID?
I know dead.
I just looked it up.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Nobody should die.
What if it's you or her?
Nobody should die from COVID. I'm not worried about COVID. I'm living my life
understanding. There are 505 dead Lee County residents.
Are you sure? Are you sure all five? No.
It is.
Are you sure all 505 were just from COVID, or
not made up, sir.
Or somebody had some
verified? Yours sometimes it's been manufactured.
It's a lot of it is manufactured.
There's the chart. You see that's going down? Yeah.
Well, no, it's going.
But the number of deaths is not going down. It's 505, and we just added those 5.
Are you saying that the only reason it's going up is because people aren't wearing masks?
I'm saying people are valuing liberty over society.
Yeah.
And that is deadly.
No, I think the reason people live in this country is because of liberty, and they don't want government intruding on them on every single thing.
The country exists because there is society.
What?
If there's nothing but liberty, then there are no rules.
Okay.
But society creates those rules that we agree by.
Okay.
We stop at the stop sign. We stop at the red
Oh, here
light.
we go again with all that. So,
all that. I didn't even start.
The seatbelt. I know the seatbelt argument.
I didn't
Okay,
go to
well,
that.
go ahead. Go
I didn't go to that.
Why should people vote for you, Todd?
Hey, it's an easy choice. The healthcare executive with business background to address the pandemic and nip it in the bud reopens the economy quicker than the guy who's got a reputation of paving paradise. I like paradise. I like palm trees. I like sandy shores. I like mangroves. I like clean water. But your alternative is the guy who likes strip malls and Walmarts and office buildings. And we need to grow up, not out. We've sprawled way too far, way beyond our original plans. We keep passing waivers left and right. And we're going to have nothing but a concrete pavement and a runway for every car to go as fast as it wants.
What is you said healthcare. What is your solution to the coronavirus? What is it?
It's simple.
Put the mask on?
Please.
Come on. That's crazy. Now you're crazy talk.
I'm crazy?
That's crazy
Actually,
talk.
you know, I'm also a social worker, and
The masks are not going to stop the coronavirus.
I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and so I can use the word crazy in clinical terms.
Well,
and this is not crazy.
It's not stopping the coronavirus. It hasn't. Why did
Really?
Why did they
Oh,
say?
wait, no, pull your data out.
Why
Let
did
me
the-
see your data,
Okay.
because I have data to oppose that.
You have no
just said-
data that says the mask
buddy.
stops the coronavirus.
Yes, I do.
You don't.
Kansas. You ever hear the state of Kansas?
What you're saying is
No,
gobbledygook.
listen to me. Listen, I know science is tough. I'm
It's
here
not
for you.
tough.
I'll teach you.
It's not tough.
I'll teach you.
You have no
Science is
facts
difficult.
that say
I
that the
just told you
masks
I did.
prevent
Let me even speak
coronavirus.
them.
Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Dude, you're making a fool of yourself today.
Again,
you are. Nobody is going to vote for you as a result of this
Again,
interview.
my goal is not for you to vote for me. My goal is for
you realize that
You've interrupted me.
You realize you have no chance of winning. None. Zero.
I really appreciate this time.
You don't appreciate it because you've been an ass since you got here.
Ditto.
Well, then take your sign and get out.
Thank you. Have a
Okay.
nice day. I'll take my sign.
Take
You
your
don't
sign.
need to take my sign.
I'll take it and I'll shove it up your ass.
Have a great day. God bless you.
You got to be kidding me.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
That guy is a piece of work.
Try and get some more guests sometime, right? Even better.
Try and get some more guests like you? Holy moly. All right, let's finish the show, dear. I know you don't want to come on. Wow. That is going to go down in show history. I hope the camera was still working. Wow. I have to apologize to my wife, of course. I know you're upset. I took it as long as I could take it. I'm sorry.
Why
I took it as long as I could. Oh, you didn't want to come in.
Why couldn't you let me come in and ask the questions
Here.
about impact fees, about clean water, about holding
All right.
agriculture accountable? Why not let him talk about the things that he was supposed to be here talking about, which are the things that affect this county and this commission? It's too much. It's too much. The both of you, it's too much.
Well, I'm
disappointed in both.
I wasn't expecting that kind of reaction to things. Were you?
When I saw the sign, yes.
Well, I didn't know it was going to be like that. How did I? He wasn't like that the first time he was on the show.
All right, well.
That was fun. Anyway, I do need to read one more ad before we go. I think the people that are here inside Pete's are a little shocked, mostly because of
Maybe
the
horrified.
Well, the good news, John, is they didn't leave, so they're still here.
No, they're still here.
All right. So before we go, we want to tell you about our friends at the Fort Myers. Can we bring Jim back or
No, they've gone.
You see, what you should have done is you should have been sitting here from the beginning because you could have refereed that. I don't understand why you didn't sit there on the interview. All right.
I don't understand why you didn't just politely tag me in. I'm standing there with notes on a notebook off camera trying to get you back on track.
I can't read that far. The letters were too small. You think I was out of line in that interview?
I think you let your emotions get the best of you. And I think you let his emotions get the best of you. And I think, again, that the discussion should have been veered back to the issues.
Okay. I'm always open to your criticism because you're the boss. So thank you.
It's really just feedback. It's really just feedback.
Do you want to read the ad?
Do you want?
You might be better to read the ad.
Oh, now you're mad at me.
I'm not
All
mad.
right.
No.
Fort Myers Tiki Tours, which we went on and was very delightful. It's actually quite relaxing. Maybe we should try that this afternoon
for you. Yeah.
So
Maybe
they
I
have
could jump off.
sunset tours at that slow speed. It's not going to do anything. It's a very relaxing thing. Sunset tours, dolphin cruises, birthday parties, anniversary parties. Get your girlfriends together and go out. It'd be a good place for any kind of rehearsal dinner party, whatever. They seats up to 6 people. They provide the ice and they provide the Coast Guard licensed driver, captain. That would be a captain. You can find them you can call them at 239-887-0042.
I think you got everything.
No, I didn't. It's www.fortmyerstikitours.com. You know, they started up north, which surprises
Buffalo.
me. Yeah, that I'm in Buffalo.
Yeah, how many months of the
tiki
year
boat
in Buffalo
company.
can you go out?
I mean, it's crazy. So,
all right, everybody. That was the most unusual show we've ever had. The second half, anyway, but the first half was fabulous.
yeah,
So
I think he did a great job. Like I said to everybody, I'd encourage you to go. And I'm not big about listening to meetings, but that meeting was really good, the public safety one, to get you up to speed on the issues that they're going to be addressing, have addressed. John Goggins gives a great review of what's happened and forward. He's very much about making decisions. You know, he said about, not getting caught up in emotion. And I think that that's a good point. When you're in that position, it's hard to make decisions, but you got to be unemotional about it.
I can't believe that people are giving me a hard time. Well, yeah. Well, I'm not going to do the show and be unemotional about it. I mean, I've said a million times that I'm not a huge Trump supporter, or sometimes I think that people want to throw stuff out there and not be able to back it up. And I think it's fair to ask people to back it up. And I didn't feel like he needed to give me crap about not wearing the mask because I wasn't eating. and I didn't feel like that he brought any facts that people should vote for him. We know that he's going to get slammed in the election, and he'd be lucky if he gets 5% because Ray Sandelli is kick ass, and everybody's going to vote for Ray on this speech. And for him to think that there's going to be some kind of blue wave, he's smoking crack, and
Okay,
it's
but
just
here's
not
the
going to
thing.
happen. And he, from the beginning, from the first question, when I asked him, I thought was a fair question, why it's been such a Republican stronghold in this county, that was a fair question. And if he's going to be a Democrat, why can't you answer that question? That's not an unfair question.
I think that, from jump, it was going south.
I didn't think it
And-
was. I didn't mind the banner. I mean, your dad comes on the show with a banner in the background. I wasn't offended by him having a Biden banner. I don't disparage people because they're going to vote for Joe Biden. That wasn't a part of it. Just I felt like that he really wasn't answering any of the questions that I was asking him. If he thinks that he's going to get elected and cure coronavirus in Lee County, he's crazy.
For you, though, to right out of the gate talk about how it's so Republican here and he's running on a Democratic ticket, it's kind of saying to him, how in the world do you think you're going to win?
Right.
Well, no one's going to run if they don't think they can win.
I don't think he's running because he doesn't think he can
that
win.
was a great way. I think he felt right off the bat.
I really feel that I've asked that question a lot. I would like to know why it's such a Republican stronghold.
but
how did it get that way?
You've asked a lot of Republicans. I don't think you've asked a Democrat.
So it would be
just
better
think
coming
it's-
from a Democrat than they can answer why their party has not been able to do anything in this county. Don't you think? And he's
I
running
don't
for.
think that they would agree that is true, and that's
Come
clearly
on,
what
dear.
he said.
It might.
Well,
He might not think it's true, but it's a fact. You can't deny that. That's the way it is. I mean, like every Republican on that ticket is going to win in this county.
well, I guess, like he said, we'll see.
I love that you're still trying to play the middle of the road. I wasn't trying to egg him on like that, but eventually it's my show.
Oh, I could hear that coming.
And I'm not
It
going to.
was like a bubble above your head,
I thought I was goofing
or maybe
around.
it was smoke.
I
Maybe
thought
that
it-
was smoke I saw.
I thought I was joking around a little bit, like I could joke with your dad. Your dad doesn't take it to the point where he makes an ass of himself. Your dad is educated on the issues. You respect what he says, and he can almost talk somebody into voting. That guy's not talking anybody into voting
I think
for him.
that he has his facts. We've seen in the past how there's debate on both sides, even in the scientific community. So everybody's going to have their side. He was very passionate about it. It's getting close to the end of the campaign, and I just think it took a wrong turn.
Well, yeah, and I probably allowed it to take a wrong turn, or I kind of felt like toward the end he was baiting me into getting to that point.
Yeah.
Because I can't, I'm not somebody that can control it for so long. I just have that problem. So
Well,
anyway,
there you go. There's some support.
well, I if you guys disagree, that's fine. I mean, I was not trying to get it to that point. I honestly wanted to bring him on to talk about his campaign. I don't think he has any chance, but I give him a chance to prove us wrong or prove me wrong. You don't think he has a chance either, but you won't say it.
I think that your statement about this being from what I've observed, I agree that this is a very Republican area, and so it would be difficult. But I don't think that that's the way to start a conversation with someone who's running. That's all. I think it just would have been better to hear what his views are on all of those other issues.
No, well, you're right. It might have been, but okay, it's really not going
All
anywhere.
right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks to all our sponsors. Thanks to
Dear, I'll play music for you while you dance it out. I did want to talk about Greg and Jim and our fights about Trump, but I don't know that makes any difference right now. So we'll save it for next time.
Thanks to all of our guests.
Yeah, and thanks to you guys who've been donating to the show. We appreciate that on our website, donating through our PayPal account. And don't forget, November 14th is our next listener appreciation get together at Hoosiers. And hopefully I didn't screw it all up today where it's just the two of us, because they're opening early at 11 o'clock just for our gang to come down there on November the 14th at 11 o'clock. And we will see you there. We'll see you back here, maybe, unless John's going to, John's a strict, hardcore Democrat, unless he says that was enough. No more of that stuff. Thank you all.
so
Have a
much.
great time, and we'll see you around.